Last night, I fell asleep watching a Twitch streamer play the new Star Wars story game Jedi Survivor, a spin-off sequel title to the 2019 counterpart Jedi Fallen Order that many fans were looking forward to playing. I did this to see what the game was about and if it was really worth the hype that the fans were giving it, and also because I can't afford to buy it myself right now. It's wicked out here. And I have to say, I went to sleep impressed with what I saw. The game looked gorgeous and the gameplay looked fun to play. But the thing was, this streamer that I was watching was playing on PlayStation. The game is out on all platforms right now, except for the Switch because they get neglected every time, but you would expect for the experience to be pretty much the same on all platforms, right? Well, apparently that's not even close to the case, because I woke up this morning to people outraged at how much the PC version of the game is completely broken compared to the other versions of the game. Even EA released a statement this morning about how they're aware of this and that they're working on releasing a patch for the game. And I just found it crazy how a game with a price tag of $70 could be released in a state like this, even if it will eventually be fixed. That's like a big slap in the face to everyone who took the risk of buying it on day one. So how could that even happen? How could big companies like EA be comfortable as they are releasing games possibly knowing that there will be issues like this? Well, I'm not an expert, nor do I have any background in game design, so I can't give you a definitive answer, I just make videos here. But based on what I've observed over the years, I want to take a stab at answering this question to the best of my ability, and hopefully give you all a better understanding of why so many games are broken when they release. So, in order to understand why games are released the way they are now, we gotta briefly take a trip back in time to where updates and patches were almost non-existent and the internet was very slow and made ugly noises. Think back to the time where games were on floppy disks and CDs. Game developers took way more time to make titles because the option of adding a patch to the game was unavailable unless you released the game on a new disc, which no company wanted to do because it was expensive as f***. Or even worse, they'd have to recall a game and have it returned to the store for the patch, which just sounds like a headache. So game developers took much more time to ensure every game was as perfect as possible before releasing it to the public. Which is almost polar opposite compared to games released today, because that fact ties into my next reason for broken games, being the fact that we obviously have the ability to release remote patches and fixes through the internet. Now, I'm not saying that this is a bad thing, don't get me wrong. If I had to return GTA to the store because the music on the game's radio license expired and I had to get the update to remove it, I would be pissed. But the fact that games can just get patched this easily has allowed developers to get a little lazy when it comes to the state that they release their games in, since they know that it can be fixed at any point down the line. But sometimes it isn't laziness though. You do have to factor in the fact that games are more advanced than they ever were, so unexpected problems happen all the time, even as late as when the developers thought that the game was finalized. Having problems this late in the process is very unfortunate and often leads to the word that no gamer wants to hear ever being said, being delays. Developers and gamers hate delays a lot, and the developers do their best to stay away from them and will sometimes skip the delay and release the game anyways, just to keep the fans happy and not miss out on potential profit. And they of course do this knowing that they can just release a patch at any point down the line. But sometimes a game's performance is pristine by the time it's ready to release. In the eyes of the developer, their game has no faults, no glitches, and is just ready to be released on all platforms. But what if when they do this, there's still issues on PC? This scenario is another common one, as many games have PC releases and almost always have issues on the platform, and it's at the fault of the player's computer hardware. You see, when developers make games for consoles, they have a set spec list for the console and they know exactly what the game can and cannot handle. For PCs, that list varies extremely, as there's so many builds out there with so many mixed and matched parts that one system rarely ever is the same as another. That's why games on PC have minimum and recommended spec lists, so that you know the range of tested hardware that works for the game. But even still, the varied hardware just won't always guarantee that the game will work 100%. So that is my answer for the reason of games being released the way they are. While sometimes it isn't always the developer's fault, I do still wish that glitches were kept to a minimum more often, because with the prices that you pay for these games, you'd think that they were pretty much finished and polished a little better. But, you know, hey man, what do I know? I'm just the person that plays games and talks about them. But we'll just have to wait and see what the future of games will look like in the future. I don't know why I just said that. So what do you guys think about games being released the way they are right now, man? Feel free to leave a comment down below. And as always, if you like on the video, subscribe, check out the Patreon if you're interested, and I'll see you on the next one.